Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Builders of Authority podcast. Our title sponsor for the Builders of Authority podcast is Go High Level, also known as GHL. GHL is the first ever all-in-one platform that gives you the tools, support, and resources you need to succeed and crush your marketing goals. Personally, I've used this software since 2020, and it's been a game changer for my business and for our clients. If you're looking to level up your CRM and marketing game, then this is the platform to use. You can find a link for a free trial in the show notes to take advantage of the opportunity to adopt GHL's amazing software and grow your business. Quick reminder before we hop into today's episode that we are continuing to grow our Builders of Authority community online. Builders of Authority is committed to helping you become the authority in your industry with personal branding and business growth. We have our free Facebook group that you can join by typing in Builders of Authority into the search bar. And in there, there's daily content, weekly live trainings, and much more. We have our Builders of Authority Mastermind, which includes a private Facebook group, 2 live weekly trainings and sessions, access to a personal branding course, and more. Reach out to us at buildauthority.co or send me a DM on social media to have a conversation. Today's guest and I have been talking live now for the first time today. We've been going back and forth in the DMs. We originally connected online for a bit, and he was looking to get on some more podcasts. Our mutual friend, Mike Kitko, recommended we get something scheduled. I'm really excited for this. I've actually been following him even before Mike had introduced us, but been absorbing his content and all the information. He provides a ton of free value out there, and I know he will do the same on today's episode. There's very few people that are operating at a high level like this guy. He does everything from saunas and plunges, things that I do, and I know people think I'm a little bit crazy for, so it's always good when I can connect with somebody that does a lot of that stuff as well. Can't wait for him to share his story. Today's guest is Josh Wilson. Josh, welcome to the show.
Awesome, Adam. Thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to chatting.
Yeah, tell us who is Josh Wilson?
Well, man, I'm a recovering real estate addict. So back in 2008, I got started in the real estate investing game, and it was a hell of a journey. Went all the way from 2008 to about 2022. Built up a $25 million real estate portfolio and sold that portfolio about 2 years ago. And it's been incredible, man. It's been an incredible ride. And I use the BRRRR method. I don't know, many of your listeners are real estate folks, but I use the buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat method, and built up that entire portfolio with zero of my own money. Exited out of that, then got into M&A, got into mergers and acquisitions. And that's where I am today, man. I'm knee deep in mergers and acquisitions. We're buying companies all around the country, and I'm having the time of my life. So that's what we're doing now. We have 6 companies in our portfolio, all the way from property management to med spas to special needs transportations to non-emergency medical transportation. So we have a variety of different companies in our portfolio, and we're continuing to expand and looking to bring on more partners with us.
Love it. And that's what I'm so excited to dive into today's episode, because I work with a lot of real estate investors. I've never done real estate investment myself, interested in learning a little bit more about it, of course. But the mergers and acquisition side, I think, is a hot topic right now. A lot of people are interested. I think both real estate investment and mergers and acquisitions, people hear those 2 words and think, oh my gosh, that's going to cost a lot of money, a lot of things. And I know you have some creative ways. You already mentioned you use none of your money to do some of these real estate deals and things like that. And so, I mean, yeah, I'm just interested to kind of like understand a little bit about like how you got into mergers and acquisitions, where it was when you started versus some of the stuff that you guys are currently working on right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, it started back in about maybe 5 to 6 years ago. Like most real estate investors, when you start investing in real estate, you realize really fast, especially if you're invested in rental properties, you realize really fast that the cash flow is not going to happen as fast as you think it is. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to be able to retire you, off into the sunset like a lot of gurus tell you. And so I decided, I'm like, there's got to be another way. So I was equity rich and cash poor, had all this equity in all these properties, but I didn't. At the end of the month, there were some months where I didn't know if I was going to be able to pay my bills, and I had like $25 million worth of single family rentals. And so that's just the nature of the beast, So you have all this equity, you don't have the cash flow. So it's a slow man's, get rich game. No problem. That's fine. I just knew that there had to be another way because, look, I need to be able to live. I need to be able to support my family. So I decided to take a leap and get into mergers and acquisitions or business acquisitions. And I bought my first company in Orlando, Florida back in 2020 or 2020, 21, right during the middle of COVID. So I was sitting in my hot tub in my backyard. I just built this huge backyard, built, this entire, pool, and got all this money poured in there. And all of a sudden COVID hit. And I'm freaking out. Like, I just spent all this cash, all this money, to build this, backyard. And I'm sitting there, nothing to do, because COVID was happening, right? It was just like, everybody stay home. And I ran across a guy by the name of Kyle Mallion, a great friend of mine now. And he posted something about business acquisitions. He was saying, hey, Josh, if I could show you how to take $150,000 instead of dropping it into a single family rental property and you make $500 a month in cash flow after all expenses, what if I showed you take that same 150, put into a $1.5 million business, get an SBA loan and cash flow 150 to 200,000 a year? Would that interest you? I was like, hell yeah, man. I need the cash, And so at the time I was worrying about tenants, right? That was the biggest thing. I was worried if the tenants were going to pay rent. I didn't know what was going to happen. And so I was looking to diversify. And so that's what I did. I bought my first business. The great thing is that I was coming from like a mindset approach of like, I didn't really have a whole lot of fear when I bought that business. Just because I ran other companies, since then. I was an entrepreneur, man, since I've been young, like since I was like 7 or 8. So I've had that in my blood. So I really wasn't scared at the beginning. And then the deal that I bought in Orlando, the first deal I bought, really wasn't a big deal. It was a $350,000 deal. Wasn't something that was going to bankrupt me at the time. Like, really low risk, but there was a high reward, it built into that. So just to give you an idea of like how business acquisitions and how you can scale for your listeners. So when I bought that company, I bought it for $350,000. I bought it on owner financing. So I bought it on creative finance. I gave the guy half down and I financed the other half for 5 years. Okay. So I bought that. And when I bought it, we were probably doing about maybe $20,000, $30,000 a month in net cash flow. But the owner was driving. He was an employee in the company. He was doing a lot of the things that an employee would do. Like, he was doing payroll and driving and all these things, working 90 hours a week, killing himself. So I had to go in there and like literally transform the business and put all the new employees in place. So what that did was it crushed my cash flow, right? So my cash flow went from like doing 30K a month with the owner working. Now that I'm not going to be working in the business, I had to go put people in place to replace him. So now my cash flow got dwindled down to probably $10,000 to maybe $8,000 a month after I put all those pieces in place. But Adam, here's the great part is that once you do that and you have the foundation laid, now it's go time. Like now you can just scale up. And that's exactly what we did. First year, we did, I think, like $50,000 in net cash flow. Second year, we did $250,000. Third year, we did $450,000. Last year, we just did $650,000 in cash flow. And this year, we're on track to do over 7 figures in cash flow. Incredible. So you see the trajectory of how it goes. And I don't work in that business. So I'm not there. I don't live in Orlando, Florida. I live in New Orleans. And that business runs itself. We have a full, fantastic, great team. And in addition to that, we actually expanded and bought another business in the same area, which is in Lakeland, Florida, which is a couple of miles down the road. And so that has expanded and grown that company as well. So that's the fun part of business acquisitions. I made a $175,000 down payment, and it's giving me now 7 figures of multi 7-figure income a year in 5 years. So that's a hell of a story.
Yeah, no, that's an incredible story. And so my mind goes, because I know a lot of people, I've talked with people that are like interested in understanding this game. You explained it really, really well. And your content is phenomenal, by the way, from a personal branding guy. I love seeing how you take what to most people is super confusing and complex, and you break it down to like a 3rd grade level, which is what everybody needs to understand. But I think people think, okay, wow, like when I'm thinking of going and buying a business, talking about in general population, they're like, okay, hey, I have to go do the work now. And you're like, no, that's where we make the most money is we do take a little bit of a short-term hit, but we're building the team and replacing an owner, which is why we also got an owner finance creative financing deal, and why there was so much upside in the business, because the owner was not willing to let go of a lot of the reins.
100%. And that was part of the reason why he was willing to owner finance. He was burnt out, burnt the hell out. He was like, I need to get out of here. I'm doing everything. And I knew, he needed all that money, right? Mm-hmm. So most business owners, they live off of every dollar that comes into their business. So they don't treat it like a business. They're running it like a paycheck. Mm-hmm. And so he was running it just like that. So when I went in there, I didn't need the money. I knew that there was going to be potential down the road to grow it. So I was willing to take a little bit of a pay cut, essentially, in the beginning, just so that I can build the foundation to get me to where I know we were going to go, which is at, the 7 figures in cash flow a year. So yeah, man. And a lot of people, honestly, it's fear-based. Everybody's got this fear, like this stigma of like going in and taking a risk and failing, like I could go on and tell you another story, man. I bought a business in Orlando. It's all not sunshine and rainbows. I bought a business I'm sorry, not Orlando, in Miami, Florida. Bought it about 2 years ago. And that was my second acquisition. I lost $1 million on that acquisition. And most people would be like, holy shit, man, I can't recover from that. Yep. And I didn't think I was going to be able to recover either. But I believe in everything happens for a reason. There are no coincidences. Mike Kitko, man, I speak to him all the time. And, there's everything happens for a reason. But if I hadn't lost that $1 million business, I would have never been able to find, because I needed it really, really bad. I would have never been able to find my next acquisition, which was in Boston, and that produces multi 7 figures a year in cash flow. So It's like Mike was talking about this today, I think on one of his calls. It's like, it's like life is like it's like a up and down. It's never like just a straight shot up. Like it's up, down, and that's what I've learned. And I just kind of go now with the flow. And like when I feel like we're having some resistance, I just let it happen, because it's like, you can't force it. You can't try to, put a square in a peg hole. It doesn't work. And so if you're constantly out there trying to force these deals, force things happen, and that's what happened to me. I forced the deal that I did in Miami, Florida. I didn't do the proper due diligence. I didn't see the red flags that I normally would see when I'm looking at deals and doing due diligence. And so I let all those things go, and look what happened. Bam, it blew up in my face. So now I don't try to force it. I don't get enamored by the deal, and I let the deal happen naturally. We got our deal right now in Chicago, man. We're working this deal in Chicago. We've been at this deal now for 4 months, and it's just like I was okay with it. I was telling some folks yesterday. I was like, if this deal doesn't come to fruition, I'm okay. It's going to be okay. We'll find another one. We'll move on. But the old Josh would have said, no, man, we got to do everything we can. We got to fight, claw and nail, just to like make this thing happen. And that's just coming from a scarcity mindset and from like a survival mode mindset. Like, we need this deal, versus like a creation mode mindset, which I've been in now for the past couple of years. And that's like, hey, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and we're going to let it happen. And, we'll make tons of money, when we do it. So that's kind of like been my mindset as of late.
No, I love that mindset and philosophy, because I think obviously it's shaped you into where you're at today and given you some of the experience that, it was your second deal. So you didn't make that mistake a bunch more, obviously, as you learned from it. I have only really had one business that I've been super involved with. I have some other companies that have equity in, just from a marketing standpoint. Like, I used to build websites. I still do. I build websites and then turn them into companies once they rank to the first page of Google. But my main company, which is my marketing agency, I had my own agency, and then I became a franchise of an agency, and then I just did a merger about a year ago. And I've learned a ton of lessons from those deals, because I'm currently getting out of that one right now, but lost a bunch of money in the process. And I didn't do the due diligence. I didn't do a lot of the things that you were talking about. And I'm not going to say I wouldn't go back, and of course I would go back and do it differently, but hindsight's 2020. But the lessons that I've learned in just the last 6 months from all of those things, it allows me to now do everything from here on out that much more effectively. And I've been working with Mike one-on-one on this. I'm like, he's helping me understand that it's a recurring theme in my life, right? So it's like, hey, if I didn't have this like hit upside the head moment that really finally like kicked me in the nuts, I wouldn't have learned the lesson the way I needed to learn the lesson.
100%, and I completely agree. And I go through it now, like on a weekly basis, where we get hit inside the head, and it's like you're wondering why are these things happening? And I made a post this morning about it, about just like how life is just life is happening for you, not to you.
Yeah.
And I really do believe that. And everything I see, I always try to go back and look back, like, wow, why did that happen? And then I look back and I say, now I know why, because it led me to here. This is where I am now. And so I let those things naturally happen and progress. And But without the failures, you're not winning, you're not understanding, you're not learning. And, if the failures that I've had over the past couple of years, had I not had those failures, I would have never pivoted into the direction that I'm in now. Right. I would have never went into M&A had the real estate stuff not work out for me, or, had the real estate cash flow not be the engine that I needed to be. Now, that being said, I still invest in real estate. I'm not like fully out of it. I am a recovering addict from real estate. I joke that, but I just bought so much in such a short period of time. But now we're constantly, we're using the businesses to create the cash flow, but we're putting it back into assets, which is real estate, to create the wealth that we need. And so, because at the end of the day, you can buy the businesses, you can churn off the cash flow, but really the assets are not in the businesses. The assets are in like the real estate that you buy, or like the stocks that you buy with that, the stuff that the paper that you can hold, look at, and see, and that's where your true wealth is going to be created.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you mentioned earlier that like you have a team of people. So walk us through that. Like, are you when you mean have a team, like you buy a business, and I might just be making this up in my head, but like you buy a business, do you have like a financial team that comes in, a marketing team? Like, what's the structure look like?
Let me say this, because I think a lot of people will get, they get excited and they're like, oh yeah, I want to do all this stuff. When I first bought my first business, it was just me.
Okay,
that was it. It was just me and my wife at the time. And we went in there and we crushed it. We did everything under the sun. Mm-hmm. Then we put people in place into those companies. So our organization chart kind of looked like, we had a GM at the top. They pretty much ran the entire organization. They were our eyes and ears since we couldn't be there. Then we had, managers under them. Then we had accounting people and folks in there. And then we had like our drivers and the operations level folks. So we had some layers in there of management and help. But that being said, as we grew and we started buying more companies, now we're up to 6 companies now. Now we actually have a C-suite. So we have an entire holding company where we have a CEO, CFO, and a COO that runs our daily operations, runs our daily financials, runs division, runs our acquisitions. We also have a business development manager as well that just joined us on the C-suite side. And so his responsibility is to drive growth in our companies and to make sure that we're driving growth, establishing our relationships with our clients and vendors, et cetera, just to continue to grow that top line. That's all he is worried about. That's all he thinks about every day is growing top line. And so we weren't able to do that in the beginning, but as we started growing, we got all these companies under our belt. That was a way to allow me to exit the day-to-day of managing all the GMs and managing financials, right? Cash flow management is a bitch, man. Like that, I used to, that would keep me up at night of like, oh yeah, we got to transfer money from this one, transfer money from that account. Like, okay, we can't spend money here because we have payroll coming next week. Like that was a pain in the ass. And so I finally said, you know what, we have enough companies. We have the cash flow now. I just need somebody that does this on a daily basis that can manage this and manage our financial structure. And that's what I did. I hired a CFO, and that's been the best thing I've ever done. Same thing with our COO. Those folks are doing a phenomenal job, and they run our day to day. So now from a higher level standpoint, I focus strictly on acquisitions and raising money. Is growing the brand for JW Global, which we're trying to acquire more companies under our umbrella.
Love it. And so I know you just mentioned that brand, right, that you guys obviously are running everything under. So let's transition there a little bit. How are you guys finding most of your deals? Obviously, you're doing a bunch of like podcasting, speaking, things like that. I imagine you're becoming, a well-known name that, hey, I can reach out to Josh and he might be interested in this deal, or he probably knows somebody, right? So walk us through that.
Yeah, man, that's huge. The brand is massive. I learned that a couple of years ago. I used to think it was a bunch of just guru, crap. Oh man, you got to grow your brand. You got to be the authority figure. Blah 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 blah, all that stuff. And I'm like, that doesn't work. Yeah. And then I started seeing the conversions. I started seeing how it actually did work. So now, I'm on the podcast. I post every day. I'm constantly putting out reels. We're doing all that stuff on social media. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the attention from the folks that are considering selling at some point, or they're considering joining us on our team to sell their company to us and maybe come on our side as a holding company level and being like an owner operator. Or we're also looking for, we're also branding for team members, right? Like that's another thing like people don't even think of. Like we've been able to hire some high level, A-level people just because of the brand that we've created. And they know that they see that they literally can pop onto Facebook and they can see my vision. They can see how I act, how I lead, and they want to come work for us. So there's a variety of different things that we use it for. And then also raising capital is another one. And then we get off market deals. That's huge. I get majority now of my deals are off market. I don't really go to market anymore. I used to go to bizbuysell.com. That was where I got my first deal. But now I pretty much, we get deals that come to us off market and we just go after those deals and slam them, to the finish line.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, it's the power. I mean, I kind of knew how you were going to answer that question based on me just watching on social media, because I see it, right? And I think so many people are kind of have that initial, thought that you did a couple of years ago. I know I did before I started about 4 years ago, of like, this can't be important. I can build this outside of it. It's like it's not that you can't build it outside of it, but things come not easier, but more efficiently. And you're getting opportunities that you would never get. You're getting exposure that you would never get. And it's allowing you to operate at a different level, not to mention the employee aspect. I was one of 26 franchises, and every single time I would hire a new employee, it would come from somebody reaching out to me or that I would find on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, and I wouldn't have to pay them more. They just wanted the opportunity because they saw what I was doing for everybody else. But then everybody would be like, Adam, how do you find these people? I'm like, because you guys aren't building a brand. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody wants to come work for somebody that doesn't have a vision and a brand themselves.
Yep, 100%. I agree with it. And it's worked tremendously well for us. And, we're pumping out reels now on the daily. And, we're just, and it's not rocket science stuff. It's not hard.
Yeah.
I think it's just a lot of people, there's sometimes, look, I'll tell you the hardest part, and this will be, this is the truth here. The hardest part is there's some days where you're going through shit and you're like, man, this is like a tough day.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have the inspiration to write a post out. You don't have the inspiration to put it out and go inspire other people when you're like down in the dumps. So
Yeah.
I've had those days, and you climb through it. But it's all about consistently putting yourself out there, making the brand of all by yourself and your vision. And we've done it. We've done it pretty well. We've grown our following pretty well. Our Instagram following is starting to really take off right now, and that's really helped out because of the reels that we do every day. So we're thinking about going to doing 2-a-day reels. So that's probably something down the road we'll probably do. But right now it's working out very well for us. Attracting the attention, helping us raise capital, hire better team members. We're getting more deals, deal flow. That's the other thing too. People reach out to me like, man, like you were the first person I think of when somebody was like, hey, I want to sell my business. Yeah. And it's like, you're the first person I think of. So I shot you a DM with the seller's information. And most of these people don't even know me. Like they know me just from social media. Mm-hmm. And so that's powerful, man. And also too, it's pretty cool. You go in, like, I'm like at an airport, or something, and somebody pops up to you, like, hey man, I watch your stuff, man. It's so great, and it inspired me. I was like, I was at my dead end job, I was working a W-2 job, and you gave me the inspiration to hop out there and just go buy a business or go buy some real estate and take the plunge and take the leap. And now I own bang bang bang. I own like 3 or 4 companies, and so it's just really cool. People you don't even know, man, like that we're inspiring them just by putting the brand out there. So that's really probably that's the greatest part. That when I get those DMs and I see those people. So
that's incredible. It's the best feeling ever. Better than money.
Oh, absolutely. Impact is great, man. That's where it's at.
Impact over income. I love it. So I want to talk here a little bit about, I know you mentioned, obviously we both know Mike Kitko. You talk with Mike a lot. I know you mentioned Kyle earlier. I've been following him on social media for a couple of years. What has learning and hiring coaches and being a part of groups done to escalate the amount of growth you've had as well?
Tremendous amount of growth from the coaches. Look, I was on the fence, just like probably most people are, about, hiring a coach or a mentor. Everybody's usually like, suspect, like whether or not they're going to actually perform and do what you need them to do and accomplish the goal that you need. And, for me, when I hired Kyle, when I started working with him, I saw real life, like, holy shit, like this stuff actually does work. And he actually inspired me a little bit to go out into coaching. And so I started coaching a little bit from watching him and saw the amount of success that he, gave me. And I started doing it for real estate. And it worked out really well. And then we started making so much money in the M&A stuff that I'm like, I just don't have the time to do coaching anymore. It was eating up all my time. And we did like a time analysis to see like where we were spending all of our time, we were making the most money. And it was just, unfortunately, the coaching was, the least amount and eating up all the time. So in order for us to grow, we had to bump out of that. So that's where we went back head first into M&A. And then I met Mike Kitko right before I bought one of my bad deals. And man, again, it goes back to, there's no coincidences in life, man. Like, Mike was there right when I needed him. And I'm glad I hired him, because there is no way I would have been able to get through that dark time that I went through with that bad deal in Miami going south without him there. He was there coaching me probably on the daily, if not the weekly, keeping my head above water. And, one thing he told me, it kind of, just hit me like right in the face, was he was like, he just stopped me in my tracks one day and he said, Josh, he's like, you do realize that one day we're all going to die, right? And none of this is going to matter. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm like, what am I doing worrying about all this bullshit, And so that was actually the catalyst and the turning point for me, when I literally shifted my life around from survival mode to creation mode and stopped trying to play defense, and I started playing offense. And that's when I went and bought Boston, man. And like, freaking sky's been the limit since then. So 100% believe in coaches. I've had two of them that have been mentors that have been fantastic in my success, and they still are. They're still a huge catalyst in my success, and I would not be anywhere. I wouldn't be where I am today without them.
Yeah, I have a lot of similar stories and a lot of similar insights, and feel the same way in regards to that. It's a lot of people think of as a lot of stuff, right? Investing in themselves or hiring a coach is like, they think of it as an expense, right? Versus the investment of what it can do. It's like, can't envision myself not doing this, right? And so what is a piece of advice that you would give to somebody that's looking to get into M&A right now?
I would say first thing is do your research. If you can afford it, hire a coach, hire a mentor that can guide you. So Kyle's got a great, fantastic program. I had a lot of my students from my real estate program. They ventured over into his program there. So I highly recommend getting a coach. They are worth their weight in gold. Without Kyle, man, I wouldn't be in the multi seven figures where we are today in that income. So I owe a lot of it to him. And so, if you're looking to get an M&A, get a coach. And then from there, don't ever let up on due diligence. Make sure you hire the right team. If you're going to hire an M&A attorney, make sure you get a good one. We got some great M&A attorneys now that we use on all of our acquisitions. So make sure you get a good team, get a good coach that can guide you through. You probably won't need the coach forever. They're there for the beginning to get you going, help you avoid the pitfalls and the mistakes. And then eventually, once you're making enough money, you can absorb some of those hits and some of those losses that come through, and you learn from them and you move on. But you hire a good team, get a good CPA, get a good attorney on your team. That way they can review financials, help you with due diligence documents, get a good business broker that you can work with that can help you navigate the offers, get a good banking finance broker that knows the SBA, they understand all the lending requirements there. So I think the first thing I would do is, if like I'm sitting around today, like I didn't know anything about M&A, I would start trying to assemble a badass team and get all those people in place, so that when you're ready to strike and start putting out offers, you have the backbone, you got the foundation of the people that can help you get that thing over the finish line.
Yeah, love it. And don't cut any of those corners like a lot of people try to do in business.
And I'll tell you one last thing too, is that M&A is not for everybody. It's a cutthroat business. It's not for everybody, and you have to be a leader. You have to want to be able to lead a team. This is not something where you come in here and you want to have a passive investment opportunity where you just want to put some money in and just get a check every month. That's an investor. If you want to do that, go invest in somebody else's deal.
Yeah.
But if you want to grow and buy companies and be a leader and be a visionary, then this is your space. This will be right up your alley.
Love it. Well, Josh, this was absolutely incredible. What are you most excited about for the future? Things you're working on, things you're wanting to do. What does that look like?
If I had to be honest with you, man, I'm excited about the freedom. I have had a lot of freedom over the past couple of months. because of my business acquisitions and my investments. And I'm looking to travel more. I think this year, next year, I want to get out of here and travel more. I'm going to do some. We actually going to Europe next month. So I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm still going to continue to buy deals, but I want to start enjoying life a little bit more. It's one thing I didn't do the first 15, 18 years on my come up. I was grinding hard, and I didn't really enjoy it. And so I made a promise to myself that I'm going to start living a little bit more and enjoying all the fruits of this labor that I've been crushing at it for the past 18 years. So.
Yeah, I can resonate with that a little bit, man. So I'm super excited that we're connected. I'm very grateful you came on the show here today, and looking forward to continue watching your success. Any last pieces of advice, maybe something we didn't talk about that you would like to leave here with the audience today?
Yeah, I would just say that, you're limited by your mindset. So if you think you can't do it, then you're already lost, So just change those stories inside of your head and let the chips fall where they may. And business acquisitions has been an incredible game changer for me financially. And I wouldn't change it for the world. If you want to get into M&A, get into business acquisitions, just start learning. Start learning today. Pick up hop on a biz buy sell. Start seeing what you like, and start there. And as long as you start making those the little baby steps, eventually you'll be right there buying your first business.
Yeah, love it. Well, I know you mentioned earlier that you have a bunch of content going out. Where can people stay connected with you online?
Yeah, at The Real Josh Wilson on Facebook and on Instagram. You can look me up there on TikTok as well, The Real Josh Wilson. And I actually just got on Snapchat, believe it or not, the other day. My daughter was trying to get me on there. I got a funny, quick little story. I text my daughter. And I'm like, hey, I need my son's going to pick you up at this time. She doesn't respond. I go on Snapchat. I hit her up on Snapchat. She responds right away. So you just got to learn how to navigate the teenage years. So don't hit me up on Snapchat. I don't even really know how to use it.
That's hilarious. That's awesome, Josh. Well, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I know you're super busy, but I know this is an episode that we haven't had anybody come on here and talk in over 100 episodes. So I know this is going to be a really, really good one, and looking forward to listening to it back.
Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
And thank you again to our amazing title sponsor, Go High Level. Without them, we aren't able to produce the quality of content or having amazing guests like we did today with Josh. Check out their free trial in the show notes. You'll also be able to see all Josh's information in the show notes as well. Make sure to stay connected with him. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. We are making a big push for reviews this year, and it definitely helps move the needle. We'll see you next week. And remember, authority isn't built overnight. It's built over time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.